what is your view on these? There are these retirement plans, like fixed income plans and insurance schemes that promise you that you'll get X amount of salary after a certain age. Do you think that is a better option versus the broad investment strategy that you have to figure out yourself?
Yeah, so actually, there's no one who can promise you what you'll get in future. And if it's a promise, then I mean, I'll go with Nikhil. It's a government security. I mean, I'll trust the government of India and nobody else, to be able to give me a return. And that's we are talking about 4%, right? So the simpler the product is, the easier it is to understand, and the easier the adoption will be. The more we convolute it, we put a lot of things in it, like insurance, investment, fixed return. Some part of it going is part A, part B. Every complexity added to it is actually a cost to it, and that cost is coming from people's hard-earned money, which they are investing in that. So I prefer, have a clarity. Again, like, you want to have safe investments, you want to have it in an emergency, like anytime you want to have liquid access to it, or you are okay, you're starting early, you can invest for long term. Then you have the instruments which will suit to them. So individually pick up the right product for the right thing, and then, I mean, stay with it, keep tab on it, how it's doing, how it's growing, learn about it, participate in why things are happening. Then you'll gain confidence. And earlier, I remember we were talking about, like, when people start. So Asna, probably you started 26. A lot of people started at that age, and they would have worked for a few years before. Like, I started in college when I was in fourth year, but that was not really investing and not really retirement in my head. It was just to learn and have fun with different instruments. But that helps you with the learning curve, because when I was earning, then I had learned a few things which just out of curiosity and those things. So I think it's the right instrument at the right time, but then there's a lot of learning which is required to do that, to know what is right, and that should happen way earlier.
Interesting. I'll come over to you, Pasna. I think see, one of the ways that people lead their lives typically is that you go through job for till 60 years of your age and accumulate enough that you can retire and, like, live with a family and everything else. But this fast strategy is very different, right? Like, it requires you to put a lot of effort. It requires a lot of discipline. You try to save almost 75-80% of all your income, and that requires you to lead a very frugal lifestyle for 10-15 years. And this is generally the peak of your career, to save enough that you can retire at like 40 or something, right? So in your opinion, like, do you think this is a better strategy for people, like especially people who want to pursue their passion, or the standard way that you work till 60, and if you want to pursue passions, pursue it on the side and have work-life balance? What would be your view on that?
See, my personal experience on that is very biased. So I don't know whether it works for everyone, but I can tell you what I did. So I think started working 4-5 years, I worked like a regular professional in the Valley. And I would say I lived nicely, but I did also save. The Indian saving mentality was there. And then after that, I moved to a fairly frugal life. And I also invested the last 12 years of my life in building out MobiKwik, hopefully to create some impact in the Indian market. And since my end for my sweat equity was already in one company's equity, therefore I didn't invest in any risky, equity type of asset, safe and low interest deriving, because I had already made my big bet of, the equity of the company, which hopefully as we turn public will create, value for myself and my family. But so that's been my journey. I would say if people have a passion, whether it is music, sports, or what have you, then it might be, worth it to in one basket and put all your safe eggs where you can have a safety net, in a diversified yet low risk baskets.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And I think Upasna is the kind of customer that probably Nikhil and Harsh would hate, right? Because they would want people to trade on equity, and they would want people to try those instruments. So I'll come to you, Nikhil. Like, do you think that's the right strategy to play it safe, or would you like tell people that they should try their hands at Zerodha, try their hands at equity investing? Maybe they can get some multi-baggers and retire early faster that way.
Well, see, Harshil, we are a conduit, right? We are a bridge. That's it. We allow for people to execute on our platform. Being candid, if I were to like say what I really feel, I feel at the current juncture, everything is so expensive and feels like a bubble. If somebody is building a portfolio afresh today, I would agree with Upasna and say, take lesser risk, buy more risk free instruments, and build a more wholesome portfolio which has some equity in it, but not too much of it. It's a bit, it's bad for my business to say that, but I think at this point of time, you see so many young new people in the markets who have had a taste of money. They've made 30-40% on anything they bought in the last 1 year. The problem with new people coming into the market, when that happens, they expect for it to happen again and again and again. And typically, you continue to add leverage as long as it happens. So it's a scary time. I don't know what's happening at Grow, but I'm assuming pretty much the same experiences they might be facing. It's people today buy equity not because they like the company, they like the valuation or any of that. People are buying equity because a friend of theirs bought a certain stock and it went up 50%, and they're hoping the same happens to them. So tough times to live in and tough times to suggest someone how to build a portfolio now. But let's say their equity exposure used to be 40% historically, it would probably be wise to bring it down to 25 if they're building one portfolio afresh.